Hey, what's up, guys? It's Mr. Joshua with another custom action figure review. And today I would like to show off to you guys a little project that I've been working on for the past couple of months, on and off. This is my custom graveyard megazord, I guess is what you can call it. I got this inspiration from the Power Rangers comic books I've been reading on for a while now. I got the idea from the Power Rangers Shattered Grid era, which is where, Lord Dragon came from and whatnot. And I thought it'd be pretty cool to make my own like interpretation of like a graveyard megazord, or something that the coinless Power Rangers basically put together to fight Dragon. Like maybe in that universe they found all these broken, destroyed little Zords and whatnot, basically combined them into one big giant megazord. I think this project came out pretty cool, and I made it look like the figures all like destroyed and everything. So you had all these destroyed parts put together, and I think the figure consists of 4 different parts. You have the Frog Zord, and then you have I think he's called the Red Dragon Zord, for the arm. And of course, we have the White Tiger Zord right here for the torso and the left arm. And finally, we have the Dragon Zord. So you got the Dragon Zord head, his little arms, which I basically converted into like little, maybe little laser gun things or whatever that move up and down, which is pretty cool. Then you have the Dragon Zord shields. And that's pretty much it. So what I did was, I took each individual part and I battle scarred them all by themselves, so each one of them had their own, battle scarred look to them. And again, this was a pretty fun project that I just got done completing. Again, it took me a while because I just wanted this guy to look like he was straight from a graveyard, and somebody just literally, put parts together that fit. And the reason I chose the Frog Zord for the legs is because 1, it was practical, and 2, it was going to be a little bit harder for me to figure out, which Zords would fit as legs. And I wanted it all to be completely different. And I think it really came out nice. And also what I did too was I went back, before I did any battle scarring, I painted up the parts and whatnot. For example, on the Dragon Zord, the shields, all those gold parts were like a shiny, 1990s, like chrome gold look. And so I shaved all that off and I gave it more of a matte gold, because I just wanted the figure to look like it was old, and the parts were worn out. So I repainted those more of a matte gold, and I threw a silver wash on it. And after the silver wash, I went back and battle scarred to pieces and threw a dirty wash on it, and there you go. That's essentially what I did with all the pieces too. And on the Frog Zord too, originally these parts right here had little stickers. I tore those off and I used a translucent gold for those as well. And on the Red Thunder Zord, what I did was I threw it in a alcohol wash for about 20 minutes just to get all that gunk off and all of the old 1990s stickers, because those stickers were just coming off. And so I tore those off and tossed it into some alcohol and took it out, dried it off, and painted it up, and bam, there we go. To be honest, I don't think I really did much battle scarring to the arm. Yeah, I don't think I did. But it still looks pretty cool. The hardest part on this project was trying to fit the dragon head and the neck onto the Tiger Zord arm. That took a lot of time to finally manage to put that in. It wasn't hard, it was just kind of time consuming. I had to take the joint right in here for the dragon arm, and I had to resize it and refit it and reshape it too, just to make it fit in there. And I fit it in there and clamped it up, put some screws in there, and it works fine. I'm going to give you guys a close-up of the figure. So let's see here. You see some battle scars like right here for the Megazord. He looks like he was smacked by a big missile or something. I think that's pretty cool. Maybe a little, gash right there and a bullet hole mark. I painted the teeth gold just because it looks cool. Right in here you can see the battle scars that I did. I left the original stickers in here too because I really liked the green, and at the time I didn't have a proper green paint for it, so I just left those in. And there's the Dragonzord head. And right in here I used some epoxy putty to fill in that gap. And so I filled in the gap and painted it black. And it came out pretty cool. On top here I just painted all that in there, gold and green. And here's the other, you can see the logo right here, the little lightning bolt. And right in here I took off that emblem there on the bottom of the foot. And yeah, I think it came out pretty cool. And again, these little hands, they double up as like little firing lasers that move up and down. And with the Frogzord, you have the explosion mark right there. I repainted these little cheek things silver. They give it more of a sense of realism. Big giant gash right there. And yeah, I think it came out pretty cool. I really like the way that turned out. And here's the back side of it. Back side of it, not very much of anything's going on. It's just more of weathering and whatnot. And the last thing I do have to do with this figure though is I have to come back in here and weather that up just a little bit, and do another weathering coat on the dragon head. But other than that, I think it's a pretty legit figure. And it also has like little special like moves and stuff that does. Like for example, let's put this back a little bit. Again, for example, it does have the little laser hand things right here, so that's for long distance. And then when shit really does hit the fan, the dragon, the Tigerzord head will open up and shoot a huge ass beam at its opponent. And then another move too, which I thought would be pretty cool, is that the arm will extend like that, and it'll also shoot like a fire, like a fire cannon or something. And a cool gimmick too is that I didn't glue this down or anything, so like you can fold that back up and you can see the head. I thought that was kind of cool in my own personal opinion. But there really isn't much articulation with this figure because back in the 90s we had a lot of toys that were really cool looking. I think back in the 90s they really focused on making the toys look cool, not as much as articulation. In this day and age, with the action figures that we're getting both articulation and making the figures look more cool and more real. But again, for 90s figures does have some articulation. Like for example, if I really wanted to, I can just do something like that, and maybe he's blocking himself or something from an attack. You see he does have some articulation. And one of the cool things about this figure too, like in the Shattered Grid timeline, I always thought it'd be cool, like for the Rangers, like the leftover coinless Rangers, to be like, all right, well this really isn't a forever megazord. So like, worst case scenario, this figure's fixing, if this zord is fixing to be destroyed, we can always evacuate and send the megazord into a self-destruct sequence and get the hell out of there. And how they would do that is they would basically evacuate from the torso of the megazord or wherever the hell they sit. I know sometimes they sit in the head, but they would evacuate the top of the megazord, and they would all evacuate into the frog zord. And here's the cool thing too, like what would happen is like maybe the megazord will, basically tilt over like this and aim its torso at the at its opponent or a monster, in this case Draken, and all of the Power Rangers would evacuate into the frog, and then it would just literally launch right off, straight at the opponent, and explode. And while that happens, they can just literally transforms into a frog. It's been a while since I've fucked around with this figure. There we go. So yeah, it would basically transform into its frog, and it would like fly away or something. I thought it'd be pretty cool, in my own personal opinion. I mean, I think it's a great idea. And also, what I did too, in order to attach the legs to the torso, I had to fabricate a hole. I haven't had a chance to paint that either. I don't think anyone's really going to care if they buy this figure. But I fabricated a hole. I drilled a huge ass hole in there, and since these figures are hollow, I had to drill out the hole, and I filled it up with epoxy. And then what I did is I took a wooden dowel, which you can see right in here. I took the wooden dowel and I shoved it right in there. I made sure that was, pretty packed up with the epoxy, and I just shoved it in there and let it set for about 2 days, and I pulled it out and it was good to go. I also thinly lined the dowel with some oil too, so that way it wouldn't have stuck. But it was a pretty fun build. And I also took some resin too, and I filled the battery pack up too with resin. And the reason why I did that is because, again, that's just an empty battery port, and the electrical systems in this figure they didn't work. Again, it was from the 90s. So let's put this figure back together again. 90s nostalgia. Alright, so just, slides it back in there. Just like that. Let me take this big old boy. Just slide it in. Oh yeah. Just slide it in. And just like that. Easy, nice and simple. And also too, if you really wanted to, you can pop these out just a little bit, and these will, slide off to the side. But I'm not going to get into that. But overall, I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give this figure about a solid 7. If I really wanted to, I think I could have taken a step forward and maybe gave it some like swords or something like that, just to make it look even more cooler. But I am pretty happy the way that this figure came out. I think it's pretty cool. It's awesome. And I am going to be putting this figure on eBay. Not really sure how much money he's going to go for. I'm assuming that nobody is probably going to buy him, which is fine. It just means he's going to stay up in my collection until he is sold. But yeah, recently I've been holding on to my custom figures, just waiting for a time to start selling again. And that's all they have for this figure. He came out great. I love the way that the figure came out, and it's awesome. If you guys like my videos, please like and subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.